Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make an envelope clutch using some African fabric as accents. So I've got a few items here. I've got my sewing machine, I've got some poppers which you're going to use for your fastening, I've got scissors, I've got tape measurer, I've got some plastic, and the plastic I'm using is just an ordinary piece of plastic. You can use some kind of leatherette material, but the reason I'm using that is because it gives strength to the purse. The two pieces of material that I've got here are not really designed for anything like a purse. This is just a tutorial, and that's why I'm just using these two pieces of fabric. As you can see there, they're two contrasting pieces. I've got black, and then I've got one that's an African print, sort of. I guess it's an African print type of fabric there. Okay, and then I've also got a piece of paper, and that piece of paper is just to use as my template. So as you'll see here, I'm folding over the piece of paper and I'm folding it into the center. So I'm folding all four sides into the center, so they all meet in the center, into the exact shape of another square and into the shape of an envelope. Then I'm going to pin my piece of paper onto plastic. It's just easier to pin it so that it's easier to work with the plastic and the paper together, so they're not all slipping around. Then you're going to cut all the way around the plastic and the paper together. And then after you've done that, you then take both the plastic and the paper and pin those onto a piece of black fabric, as I've done here, and then cut all the way around so that you've got an exact square for all three pieces that you've got there. And then just fold it all together into the center, all four corners, so that they all meet in the center, as you can see there. Then you take your contrasting piece of fabric, you create 4 strips, and I'm using a piece of tailor's chalk, but you can use any sort of fabric pen or anything really just to mark it out. But probably a good idea is you take your first strip of fabric and then use that as your template to cut out all 4 other pieces of fabric, so they're all the same length and width. Then going over to your to your ironing board, you're going to fold over one edge of the fabric, and you fold that towards the center. Normally what's a good idea is when you're dealing with raw edges is to make sure that you finish off the raw edge, as you can see there. But in this instance, because it's not a project that I'm going to give away, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, just fold both edges into the center and then iron it flat so that you've got something that looks like that. Then you take your main, oh, by the way, at this point you've gotten rid of your white, your square piece of paper or card. So you slip one edge of your square into the contrasting piece of fabric that you've got there, so that the raw edge is on the inside and the outside you can see is folded down. Then you sew away. So you sew all 4 edges, doing the exact same technique that I showed you, and once you finished all 4 edges, just clip any sort of unsightly edges as well, and then you should have something that looks a little bit like this. And so all 4 sides have got some kind of some of the contrasting fabric on the edge. Then turn your project inside out, or turn it over so that the plastic edge is facing away from you, and then fold the plastic edge into the center again, as you can see, so that it's forming another envelope, just to make sure that all 4 edges are meeting in the center before you continue further. If that doesn't happen, then you probably need to start again. Then fold the project in half and then sew one half. Okay, as you can see here, I'm sewing along the one edge. Then after you've done that, you take the other edge, as you can see, and bring that towards the 2 edges that you've just sewn together, and just pinch it together, as you can see I've done here, and then you're going to sew that as well. Then turn that inside out after you've done that, so you're only sewing 2 edges together. Okay, and then you turn that inside out, as you can see there in the background. I've got it all done and finished. I've got poppers, and I'm using those poppers as my closure, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to hand stitch this because it's a lot easier just to hand stitch with the poppers than with the sewing machine. I'm not even sure if you can use the sewing machine to do this. I'm not sure if the same button feature would be the one that you would use, but anyway, do it by hand and it's just a lot easier. And there you go, you've got your clutch, and the inside of it allows you just to wipe it down in case you get any spillages or any sort of mess inside the purse. So it's just a really nice, easy project to do. I like to do easy projects. So I try not to make things too hard when I do tutorials, particularly if you don't know how to use a sewing machine. So and then there you have it. So I can fold the purse in half, and as I've done here, so you can see it's really, it's a nice thing to just have the option of either having the purse as a full envelope clutch, or just be able to fold it in half. Okay, thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions, then please do not hesitate to ask. Thanks. Bye.